In science and engineering, we are often in a situation where repeating the experiment will give us a new realization of the signal, not quite the same as before. Here we have a situation where signals or functions of time are recorded. So for each experiment we obtain one new realization, and here we have 3 realizations. There may be many more. What we observe is that we don't get exactly the same result. We get similar results but not quite the same, and we are left with the question of how to model such random signals. How to model random signals. And this is the core of this course. We know a similar situation in probability theory, where we have defined a concept of a stochastic, or some call it just a random variable. I'll just review the definition, and then let's see if we can in some way apply it to this situation where we are not only concerned with single numbers but actually whole functions. So a random variable, to define a random variable, we start by defining a sample space. This we call S. And in the sample space we have all the outcomes. There might be an outcome A, another outcome B. So this here is a sample space, and these here are outcomes. And if you have subsets, it may be a subset A here with several outcomes in, or many outcomes in, we could call that A. Such a subset is called an event. And we are able to measure the probability of an event A, and this probability is a real number between 0 and 1. So to define a random variable, we start from such a probability space, and then we define a function that maps an outcome onto some range, which we call Sx. So the range of x, and the random variable is then a function that goes from the sample space, that maps from the sample space to the range. This could be a part of the real line, so real numbers, and here lies the number x of A. So if outcome A happens out of the experiment, then we get a value x of A out. Well, as I said before, random variables are not exactly enough. We want to have random functions. So how can we modify this setup of a stochastic or random variable to actually account for whole functions here, rather than just single numbers as we get here? And there are at least a couple of ways of doing so. I'm going to give 2 definitions. First definition occurs by considering the realization here just as a sequence of random numbers. So for every time t, we have a new random number x of t, and essentially stacking all of these, or grouping all of these, collecting all of these numbers, give you a random process or stochastic process. So the first definition goes like this. It's a collection of random variables indexed by t, and we denote it like so. We have a collection. This is a set of random variables. Those are functions, and those are indexed by t. So they all go from the same sample space S. We may have an outcome here A, and for at each time. So now we have a time axis here at each time. So let's say this is time 1. This is time 2, time 3. At each time, we have a new function that maps A into onto this axis here. So for instance, this could be x1, the x1 function, and it maps onto here. And here, so this number here is called x1, A, and we may have another sample here, another value here, which comes from this function here, from the same outcome, x2 is this function, and this would then be x2 comma a, and so on and so forth. So at every time we have a new, at every time step we have a new random variable, a new function of time. Just to give an example of this first definition, we can consider this case here where we have defined such a stochastic process. At every time step we generate a new random variable, and we do so independently and identically distributed. So all these random variables here are independent and identically distributed. This is IID according to some normal PDF, some Gaussian PDF with mean 0 and variance 1. So at every time step we get a new value here. So here we have plotted 3 realizations of such a process, and you can see at every time step you get different different values, and so they fluctuate. In this case it's not completely clear what is actually the sample space here, which type of sample space. We know there ought to be one, but it's not very clear how the structure is. But this is often so in realistic situations, that we can't write up this sample space. And this is not a big problem because we have a full definition of the random process by this equation here, and that is actually enough to do our calculations. That was our first definition. The second definition is a bit a different story. Instead of actually stacking random variables, we generate a whole deterministic function in one go. So in this case we consider the stochastic process to be a collection of deterministic functions of time, and these are indexed by the outcome S. So again we have the sample space, and each outcome, in this case I just call it S for no good reason, and for every S the function x give us a whole function out as a function of time. So this here would be x, and the function here is then x. And the function here would then be x of x of s. If you considered another signal, this one could be called a. Then we would use the same function and produce a new signal, perhaps looking like this. So the same function, and this would be such a signal as a function of time. An example for this this second definition could be like so. Here we have the situation where we have a sample space which is actually a part of the real line. It's minus pi to plus pi, and we draw a random variable from the sample space uniformly distributed here, and this random variable is going to be a phase. We call it theta. And then we generate new functions. We make new functions here, x of t, which is a sine of 2 pi t plus the phase that we drew just before. So here we have random functions in the sense that we have a sinusoid with a random phase. So we generate a new function all in one go whenever we draw a new phase. And here we have 3 realizations of this, and we see that they are shifted some way, somehow back and forth depending on the value of the phase. So that's an example of this definition 2. You can see in this case we actually directly write up the sample space, even though we don't need it. We could actually just write this. The random variable theta is defined like this uniformly distributed random variable, and the function x of t is then defined like so. It's important to note here that even though the 2 definitions look different, they actually produce both define the same object, the same stochastic process. And this is beneficial. In some cases, it's better to think of the process at hand as a sequence of random variables, and thereby use definition 1. In other cases, it's better to think of it as randomly generated deterministic functions, or randomly picked deterministic functions. And we are free to choose. So now we have our two definitions here, definition 1 and definition 2. It's perhaps a good idea to look a bit at the notation that we use. And actually we have 4 different cases for the notation. First of all, as we just saw, a stochastic or random process is a collection of functions, and this we write using these brackets here. It's a set of functions here, either indexed by t or indexed by s. This we call a stochastic process. If we take one of these functions, or if we just write x of t and leave the second place undefined, this is actually just a random variable. So this is sampling the function at just one particular time. This is a random variable. Obviously, if you leave the first one open and define s, then this is actually a deterministic function of time. For every s, for each s, we get a function of time. So if you look at this case, for each s, we get a new deterministic function of time. No randomness occurs here. Finally, if we define both, actually we just have a numerical value. So not random, just a deterministic number. To shorten our notation, it is customary to abuse notation a bit and write for all of these cases x of t. The exact meaning of x of t in this case will have to be determined from the context, and this can be quite confusing when you're first getting into stochastic processes. But you will soon learn to digest, to understand which of the 4 cases that we actually mean when we say a stochastic or random process x of t. So in both our definitions we have a time variable, and there may be several cases here for the time variable. In this case we considered discrete time variable. In this other case we considered continuous time variables. So this is the real line and these are only the natural numbers. And some comments to that. If we consider a discrete time, so the time is a member of the natural numbers. So this here is the set -2, -1, 0, +1, +2, This is a discrete time. This leads to a discrete time random process. In the other case, a continuous time may occur, so the time may be some number, any number on the real line, and this actually gives us what we call continuous time random processes. And we call t for time, we denote, or we say that t denotes time, but actually it could be other entities. It could be distance, it could be space, it could be frequency. There are many possibilities here. So it's by tradition we call it time, but it could be any other entity we may want to consider.